Hi, I'm Black History Maven. Travel with me through Lovecraft country. We're going to quickly crisscross around the country to take a brief look at some real life incidents that inspired Lovecraft country. We'll talk about sundown towns in the Northeast, a massacre in the Midwest, and incidents in Chicago and Mississippi. First, let's start off in the Northeast. Lovecraft country begins when Atticus, his uncle George, and his friend Letty visit a fictional Massachusetts county called Devon County. Fictional Devon County is a stand in for real life Essex County, Massachusetts, of Salem witch trials fame. And what's a sundown town? According to historian James Lowen, a sundown town is any organized jurisdiction that for decades kept African Americans or other groups from living in it and thus was all white on purpose. Sundown towns largely arose in 1890 through the 1940s, and many officially existed until the 1970s. We're going to move from New England to Tulsa, as Lovecraft also tells the story of massacres, with the massacre of Tulsa factoring into the legacy of the character Atticus, especially at the end of the series. I won't delve into how Tulsa is a part of Tick's legacy, but let's overview a few elements of the series versus real life. In real life, Tulsa's Greenwood district, called Black Wall Street, was destroyed on June 1st, 1921. 800 were injured, mostly African Americans. Initial reports put the death toll at 35 or 40, but historians now believe at least 300 people died, again, mostly Black. But the series doesn't account for how the massacre began in actuality. As it often happens in tragedies like this, in reality, a white woman, Sarah Page, accused a Black man, Dick Rowland, of rape. A group of Black men tried to protect Rowland at a courthouse, and a shot was fired. From there, the massacre began. There is no evidence that Booker T. Washington High School canceled its prom, as took place in the series right before the massacre. But there is and was a real Booker T. Washington High School in Tulsa. This picture, which has been colorized from black and white, shows Booker T students marching in the mid-20th century, decades after the massacre. Fortunately, Tulsa did not become a sundown town, as Greenwood residents rebuilt. But Lovecraft Country does recount another incident in Chicago's history that rocked not only the city's Black community, but communities around the country. That is, sadly, the funeral of Emmett Till, the young martyr of the civil rights movement who was killed in the Deep South, and an episode of Lovecraft that fittingly centers around young Diana. In episode 3, Dee and some other kids mess around with a Ouija board. One of the children, Bobo, asks the board if he'll have a good time on his trip, and the board says no. That boy is meant to be Emmett Till, whose real-life nickname was Bobo. Notice his necktie. The funeral of Bobo Till took place at the end of the summer in Chicago, his hometown, on September 6, 1955, at Robert's Temple Church of God in Christ. Approximately 100,000 people mourned this child during the funeral in Chicago, which his mother insisted on being open casket. Mamie Till Mobley famously said, "I wanted the world to see what they did to my baby." Ultimately, Lovecraft Country is a story of discovery through journeys, even if that discovery takes us past the brink of nightmares. Because it's after nightmares that we can truly wake up. Thanks for joining me on this virtual trip through Lovecraft Country.